interesting new friendships.
I get a great opportunity to be in it, and good dancing and good openings.
The Special Olympics is fun. It has swimming, it has track and other things, and I like it.
Most athletes compete in 2 or 3 events. The Special Olympic Games conclude tomorrow.
And good luck to all of them.
Yes. When we come back on News 5, 2 guys turn a roadside taco stand into...
With Sherry Kurtz and Ted Koppy.
Next on News 5, 12 at 10, do our children eat healthy at school? A bill ready for the president's signature calls for the easing of restrictions on the National School Lunch Program.
Students at a local technical school use their extraordinary skills to construct a sturdy nest out of a not-so-sturdy materials.
And we have a tale of 2 ducks and a surprised homeowner and a hungry homeowner's cat. Good evening, I'm Ted Koppy.
And I'm Sherry Kurtz. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, eating a well-balanced meal, as most of us already know, isn't easy, but try cooking for hundreds, then try following federal guidelines.
A bill now on President Clinton's desk is designed to ease restrictions on the nation's school lunch program. But what effect will it have on the programs here in Sioux Falls? Sean Boyd tells us in tonight's top story.
For many children, it's the only balanced meal they get all day. And because of that, and a heightened awareness of general health, more emphasis is being placed on the nutritional value of school lunches. President Clinton is expected to sign a measure today which would set new, stricter dietary guidelines for lunch programs. But it comes as no surprise to the Sioux Falls School District.
We've been hearing about it for a long time. It's just that now they have taken steps to make sure that they're adhered to more fully, and then giving us some options as to how we're going to reach that.
Schools have been following the new guidelines since 1985. Reducing fat content and balancing the meals have been a priority. Already there is no deep fat frying at the elementary level. Schools will now have 3 ways of getting their lunches to meet nutritional guidelines, giving them more flexibility. Officials expect there will be some additional costs, but say it's too early to tell just how much. Menu changes will come slowly to make it more palatable. More fruits and veggies will be the biggest change in scenery on the lunch tray.
This is a fast food generation that we're dealing with here, and and kids like the fatty foods. They will make no bones about it. This is what they like. I guess our biggest challenge is to try to make them tasty and appealing with less fat.
And for most kids, that's a lot to swallow. In Sioux Falls, Sean Boyd, News 5.
On another note, a 41-year-old Sisseton man is in critical condition tonight after falling more than 100 feet. Authorities say James Randolph was cleaning the inside of the Volga water tower this morning when he fell down the stem and it landed at ground level on about 3 feet of water. Crews say Randolph was conscious when rescuers arrived. He was then airlifted to McKinnon Hospital, where again he is in critical condition.
An inmate at the Yankton Human Services Center has been sentenced in an attack on a disabled woman. 35-year-old Charles Searcy of Chicago, Illinois, has pleaded guilty to abusive sexual contact. He was sentenced to 51 months in Yankton with 3 years supervised release. Authorities say Searcy lured the 41-year-old woman into the gymnasium on the grounds of the Human Services Center where he had sexual contact with her. Well, the lawyer for a Humboldt teenager charged in the fatal car accident explained today what happened on the early morning of May 12th.
18-year-old Brandon Brahm's lawyer said today the Humboldt teen was driving between 40 and 45 miles per hour when someone in the car said something. He turned around, lost control of the car, and hit a light pole, killing a 15-year-old Hartford girl who was a passenger in the car. Brahms pleaded not guilty today to second-degree manslaughter, vehicular homicide, vehicular battery, and marijuana possession. If convicted, Brahms faces a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison. His trial, meantime, has been set for July 29th.
A 25-year-old Little Falls, Minnesota man is awaiting charges in the Morrison County Jail tonight after a standoff that left 2 teenagers with serious stab wounds. Authorities say the man took his 19-year-old estranged wife hostage along with her infant and a 17-year-old boy just before 5 this morning. 6.5 hours later, authorities arrested the suspect. The victim's condition has not been released yet. The baby was not injured in the standoff. Authorities say the suspect was charged earlier this month with domestic assault and sexual assault against his estranged wife. She had taken out a protection order against him.
In court news closer to home, by this time tomorrow, you may know a lot more about the disbarment of Sioux Falls attorney Mike Simpkins. The Sioux Falls Argus leader is asking the state Supreme Court to make public the reason for Simpkins' recent disbarment. The state bar, on the other hand, will argue against the request. Simpkins gained notoriety when he alleged Governor Bill Jankwell made an improper stock transaction. Since his resignation from the bar, Simpkins has pleaded guilty to failing to file sales tax for his law firm. State Bar Director Tom Barnett says in a similar case in 1990, the state Supreme Court sided with the Associated Press when they wanted the reason for the disbarment of a Vermilion lawyer. Well, as News 5 12 at 10 continues, Baltic State lawmaker Mike Wagner says he's not running for re-election.
Wagner says job and family considerations are his reasons for not running, but he's not giving up on someday running again for office. Wagner does plan to stay through the end of the year as chair of a committee formed to enhance cooperation between North and South Dakota.
In other political news tonight, Republican candidates for the U.S. House are challenging each other to sign campaign promises. Today, John Thune signed a pledge to limit benefits, taxes, and travel if elected. Thune says he will not serve more than 3 terms or take the congressional pension. He also says he will oppose the use of tax dollars for raises and trips. Thune today also challenged his opponent in June 4th's primary, Lieutenant Governor Carol Hillard, to sign his pledge. But Hillard instead is asking Thune to sign her plan, a 10-point contract with South Dakota that covers many of the same issues that she's already signed.
Well, besides Carol Hillard and John Thune on the Republican ticket for June 4th's primary for the U.S. House, the Democratic ticket holds 4 names, including Jim Abbott, Dennis Jones, Linda Stensland, and Rick Weiland. Independents for the lone House seat have until August 6th to file, and according to the Secretary of State's office, so far no one is on that ballot. In World Watch tonight, gay rights advocates are celebrating while their opponents vow to continue fighting. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down a Colorado measure that would deny homosexuals protection from discrimination. Gay activists call it a breakthrough. Opponents call it judicial tyranny.
It was a big day for stocks thanks to an oil deal with Iraq. The United Nations signed a deal today allowing Baghdad to resume selling oil so it can buy food and medicine. As a result, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 61 points for its first close above the 5,700 mark. And they didn't mean to do it, but the Forest Service says a group of young people have admitted their campfire may have set off a huge forest fire in Colorado. 10,000 acres have burned since Saturday, along with at least 2 homes. Those responsible could be fined and jailed.
Which I guess with our rain over the weekend, it helped us out a little bit to not have fires and things like that.
Not a problem at all with camping season getting underway.
That's right. Scott Bowden standing by on the Weather Center with the details, we hope.
Well, we saw some scattered showers today, mostly around Mitchell, actually across most of the eastern sections of South Dakota. Let's go to the almanac and show you. We started off with a temperature of 56 degrees, warmed up to 71. The normals are 72 and 47. It looks like spring has finally sprung, even though it happened a little while ago. Records are 95 and 27. Precipitation, we saw 0.13 of an inch of precipitation in the last 12 hours, still below normal. Sunrise tomorrow morning is at 5:57. Sunset is at 8:50. Here's some other high temperatures across the region. 69 in Mobridge, 72 in Pierre, 73 in Aberdeen and Huron. Those are the warm spots across the region. As far as temperatures at this hour, 59 in Pierre. Things are cooling down just a little bit. 58 in Aberdeen, 59 in Huron. 59 degrees right now in Sioux Falls under fair skies, 62% humidity. That's good news. That was up in the 70% range last week. Southwest winds at 6, and the barometer is rising from last hour. Here's the jet stream. You can see it's dipped down to the south, bringing that cooler air from the north. That's why we're cooling down. Tomorrow will be up to 76, but then after that we'll only be in the upper 60s. So definitely a lot of cooler air moving in. Most of the hot weather is moving off to the East Coast. Well, the big news in the weather department was the scattered showers that we saw across the state, right up by around Mobridge, down to Gettysburg and to Chamberlain. Mitchell saw about 3 funnel clouds today as they saw an isolated thunderstorm. As that moved off to the east, Laverne, Minnesota saw a couple funnel clouds. There was also some hail reported in that area. That has generally moved off to the east at around 30 miles per hour. Still seeing some scattered light showers, but the big news, as the high pressure moves in from the state, you can see it right here just kind of coming in, clearing out the skies. That front right there is causing the storms across the Ohio Valley, and that's exactly what we're seeing right as you see it move on from Iowa up into Michigan. That's where most of the severe weather was today. We kind of escaped the severe weather, and I think we will throughout the week, which is good news. Most of the precipitation, too, moved along, and that still is moving to the east coast at around 35 miles per hour. We'll give you a no-wait forecast. It's looking to be a cooler night tonight than last night. We'll see a temperature of 46 by tomorrow. Mostly sunny and pleasant. Get out and enjoy it. 76 degrees. We have more to talk about, plus the 5-day forecast. Let's continue News 5, 12 at 10 with Ted, Sherry, and John.
Thanks, Scott.
With those temperatures, it's hard to imagine that there's still ice sports going on.
Indoors, Ted, as the NHL playoffs continue with the 4 teams remaining. I know you're watching the playoffs with plenty of interest. You'd have to call the Florida Panthers the Cinderella team, the lone Cinderella team, but they have a 1-0 lead against Pittsburgh. Excuse me, going into tonight's game, Sergei Zubov gave Pittsburgh a 1-0 lead early on. That in the second period. About 6 minutes later, Jaromir Jagr shut out in Game 1. He comes back to score in Game 2. The Panthers would pick up a couple goals in the third period, but Mario Lemieux also shut out in Game 1, would also add a goal. That would be the clincher as Pittsburgh goes on to win this one 3-2. That ties the series up at 1 game apiece. That series will continue on Friday down south in Miami, in the warm temperatures of Miami indoors, of course. And, of course, the Western Finals, they continue tomorrow with Detroit and Colorado. The Avalanche up 1-0 in that series.
Couple of great series.
Couple of great series with plenty more to come.
All right. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
A local communications company gears up to go high-tech.
Midco Communications in Sioux Falls got rolling on a $1 million expansion project. Over 100 people were on hand for a special groundbreaking today for the 11,000-square-foot addition to the downtown facility. The new building will house Midco Communications Sales and Administration as well as Mid-Continent Media's Information Services Group. The company's existing building will be used for new digital switching equipment as well as the expansion of Midco's telephone answering and telemarketing services. Officials say the expansion will allow the company to compete in the local market.
We'll be another alternate provider. The whole idea of competition, of course, is that prices should go lower, and we're hoping that with everybody trying to develop their own unique selling propositions, the quality will go higher.
Construction is expected to be complete by December.
Coming up on News 5 at 10, students working on a final project at a local technical school find they need a lot of support. They're building a piece of history while trying to protect a fragile foundation.
Meantime, what would you do to protect 2 stray ducks who've wandered into your house?
And in Medical Minute, bottoms up for an upset stomach and a treatment to help not only reduce wrinkles but stretch marks. More News 5 is next. Stay with us.
And Sioux Falls are finishing out the year with a project that involves a little wood, glue, thread, and most importantly, creativity.
Tracy O'Halloran tonight has our details.
The assignment was to design a 4-sided pyramid, 12 inches high, 12 inches deep, and 12 inches across at the base, and it had to support 25 pounds from the top. Students could only use 4 materials to construct the pyramid: balsa wood, glue, thread, and their imaginations.
But he told us we had to make a pyramid for sure, but to use how much balsa wood and all that stuff, that's kind of tough. I use a lot of thread on mine, which I hope works, but I don't know yet.
Some students just couldn't wait to find out, so they tried it early.
Last night at 7 o'clock it failed, and at about 11 o'clock I got done rebuilding it again.
If it failed today, though, the only fixing that was done was scrambled eggs.
The purpose of this is actually to have a lot of fun. Our students have been doing calculations and trying to size beams and girders and columns and everything, and I decided that this last week of school, let's just have fun.
The students thought the project was fun, but they didn't take it lightly.
He's making it a big percentage of our grades, so we all had to try really hard to make sure it will work, because otherwise we're going to get docked big time.
I'd love to say it's going to work. I hope it works. I need the grade.
Denton and Sandy are breathing easier today since both of their pyramids held the weight. In Sioux Falls, Tracy O'Halloran, News 5.
Now, after the contest was over, the students, of course, made a huge omelet with the eggs that were not smashed, luckily. After a rough weekend, will we get a reprieve in our 5-day forecast? Scott Bowden is in next.
And what goes hand in hand with warmer weather, but more road construction. This time, again, a major north-south artery is shut down. We'll explain when News 5 continues.
Shop Montgomery's Furniture and Decorating.
Strong winds and even a tornado.
The storm cut a path of destruction through this farming community outside of Wells, Minnesota. Silos were ripped from their concrete foundation and tossed into nearby fields. Barns were also blown apart and trees splintered like sticks. Straight-line winds gusted to nearly 100 miles per hour, scattering debris across the ground. While the farmers in this community continue to clean up today, they still consider themselves lucky because they're still alive. Damage here is estimated at $1.5 million. Incredible, and it sounds like a yo-yo with weather lately.
Certainly is. We're going for a roller coaster ride. We had, you know, the strong storms on Friday and Saturday, and now today and tomorrow look like just tonight and tomorrow rather look great nights, and then a cool down. 15-degree cool down by Thursday.
Not what we want to hear.
Yeah, but I miss the cold temperatures. I don't know why. Let's go to the maps and show you exactly what's going on. The jet stream has dipped down to the south, and that's why we're seeing that cooler air move in. Get ready for a yo-yo ride, like Sherry said, as we are going to see 15-degree cooler by Thursday. The jet stream is going to kind of build a trough in, and we're going to see the dry weather actually turn to wet weather. So the best day is tomorrow. Get out and do something because we have a chance for showers until Saturday. Here's the high pressure as it makes its way in, and that's going to give us a mostly sunny day tomorrow as most of the bad weather moves along with this front to the east coast. By tomorrow, more high pressure moving in. That's going to be the best day. We'll be around 87 degrees, beautiful, no clouds in the sky. Like I said, get out and enjoy, because by Wednesday, here comes our strong upper level low that's going to move through, bringing us showers for Wednesday, Thursday, and then we got another system coming in on Friday. A week of dramatic changes like I've been talking about. The jet stream's going to kind of build
in a construction accident, buried alive in a sewage trench.
Millions of vehicles are being recalled, but what do you do if one of those cars is yours?
And how honest are you or your neighbors? We put some in the Sioux Empire to the test.